Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
You have a very nice ring.
Oh,
I've just been distracted by it.
thank you very much. It was I bought it. It's the American college ring that you get. When but I bought it in a pawn shop in Tokyo.
It does look
I'm
like you've
assuming it's
graduated
like
from an
some-
American
yeah,
college.
I've had to get into some really tricky conversations with people in airports going, "Hey, where'd you go to school?" I'm like, let's not go there, mate.
I love that you bought it in Tokyo. This
I'm
American
assuming
college
it's just like a GI has pawned it for prostitutes.
Right. Let me start here. One of the songs on this record, The Death of You and Me, is a somewhat romantic take on the notion of running away and living happily ever after. You sing, I seem to spend my whole life running from people who will be the death of you and me. Some of your personal conflicts have been well publicized. Should we take that song to be autobiographical?
Well, you can. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's fair that songwriters really go into too much depth about what songs are about. But there is a little bit of my own personal truth in all the songs, but they shouldn't really say that much to you about me. They should really say more about yourself. Do you know what I mean? If you relate to it, you should. I wouldn't really write an album which was about me, because who wants to hear about my complaining? Do you know what I mean?
But some songwriters do. I mean, songs can be confessionals, right?
Yeah, but some songwriters use it as the form of therapy. Do you know what I mean? I try to find the joy.
Arguably John Lennon.
Well, yeah, and I've got friends in the music business who do it on a regular basis. But I try to find the joy in my music or in a song. And if I'm writing something and I read it back and I find it too close to the bone, I change it, because really, my private life is my private life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You prefer that separation.
Yeah. I like.
It's not your catharsis.
No. I've never been to therapy. Don't need it.
Your brother was here a few months ago with his new band BDI. He said that after the dissolution of Oasis, Noel, he wanted to get back to making music right away. You took a bit more time getting back to it. Creatively, where were you at the end of Oasis?
Creatively, well, I would always take a lot of time off after big world tours anyway. Do you know what I mean? You've got to, because each project that we used to undertake would be 2 years with the tour, and from the minute you go in the studio to the end of the last gig would be 2 years. So you've got to, if I was working for 2 years, I'd have to balance it out with time off, because I don't live to work. I work to live, and what's the point of being a rock star if you can't just bum around for a year? There's no point in working every day of your life.
Do you consider it work? I mean, some people would look at your life and think that work is something it's your passion. So it's what you live for.
Well, on the one hand, it's my hobby. Do you know what I mean? And I don't have any other hobbies by watching football. But like I say, it's that I couldn't go from spending 2 years on a project and then 6 weeks later saying, right, well, I'm going to start something else now. There's got to be and this is just me personally, but some people like to work all the time. I have to go away and I don't pick up the guitar, and something happens, and then I have to feel that I really, really miss it. Like I might go and see a show from another band and think, I really want to get back on stage,
right.
And then I'll think about doing something, but I'm not really that.
But it was almost like Liam was saying he needed to do that. As soon as with all the kind of residue that came from the fissure of Oasis, that he said, I just wanted to jump back into the music, man, and so one would think that you had a more contemplative approach if it took you longer to put this record out.
But look, we're all in the music game for different reasons. Do you know what I mean? And I am not a workaholic. I'm just not, and I don't feel the need to be in the papers or on stage all the time. Some people, their work defines them. Do you know what I mean? And in the 2 years that I had out, I actually felt like I hadn't done a great deal. When I totted it all up, I'd made 2 albums, I got married, had another baby, moved house, so I'd got through a lot, but I just don't feel the need to be announcing it to the world via my website, this is what I'm doing and it's going to be great. It's like when I'm when I'm away from the music business, I'm away from it, and that's it. The end.
Let me ask you about this record. There's I'm going to say a confident gentleness to the sound of this record. The songs breathe. The guitar tones aren't particularly aggressive. If you agree with me? What do you attribute those peaceful qualities at play in these songs?
Well, when I was in Oasis, we were a stadium rock band, and for better or for worse, that's the music that I wrote because we played stadiums and big arenas all over the world, and you had to tailor. We didn't have to, but you fall into the trap of tailoring your music to fit whatever environment you're playing in. With this record, I didn't know where I was going to be playing, so it was whatever the song required, and I these songs would have sounded the same no matter what circumstances I was in. It wasn't me getting away from stadium rock. It's just that none of these songs are stadium rock.
But is it to suggest that you felt, to a certain extent, that after a while being in Oasis was creatively confining?
I never felt that. It's a great thing to be in a stadium rock band. It is the pinnacle. It's the greatest. That's why people are in bands, is to become huge and play stadiums.
Why is it so great?
It's just a spectacle of being in the stadium and all that. But on the other hand, you're restricted by the stadium. Do you know what I mean? And with the song we've just heard, "The Death You and Me," for instance, you could never play that in a stadium, because of the trumpets and all that kind of thing. And it's a very tricky arrangement, and it's tricky to sing. So I wasn't trying to do anything different. I just wasn't doing stadium rock. I'm not a rocker.
You're not?
No, I'm not a rocker.
Meaning you've never been, or you're not now? You're in
Well,
one of the
roll-
most famous rock bands of all time.
Yeah, but rock and roll, people perceive it in many, many different ways. I'm not for the black leather jacket and the cowboy boots and drinking champagne in a chandelier at 8 a.m. Do you know what I mean? If you're asking me, I prefer the Neil Young side of rock and roll. Do you know what I mean?
Huh.
Because Neil Young is probably the most rock and roll person that there is.
Absolutely.
But without you, he doesn't. Do you know what I mean? He's not like some guy waving a bottle of Jack Daniels around at 8 a.m.
But that would almost suggest that you've, to a certain extent, been misunderstood all this time. I mean, people do think of you as the excessive rock and roller kind of guy, don't they?
Well, I think I would. Do they?
No.
I don't know. Do they? I don't know.
Am I thinking of the band or your brother or something?
Well, Oasis, yes, of course, that's what it was. And when we started, we were all kind of quite young and all single guys, and we went for it. Do you know what I mean? But as it progressed, we all settled down, had kids and families, and we all had like 2 or 3 kids each. But people still perceived it like that because the music was still was mostly about youth and drinking and stuff like that. So, but I don't regret I don't regret one single note of being in Oasis, not one.
Interesting. I mean, this is a solo outing, and to be sure, you've gone on record saying when you've been in Oasis, there's no point making another band.
Yeah, I don't. Well, in the 10 months I had off before I went into the studio with this, I was kind of sitting around smoking cigarettes, thinking, well, what am I going to do? I kind of put it off for a while and just went on holiday and I was hanging out with the kids and my wife. And then in the end, I was like, right, so what am I going to do? And to start a band, I thought, I was weighing up the pros and cons of each. Like a solo artist, I didn't want to be a solo artist. I still don't. But to start another band in your 40s means I've got to find some idiot singer, and then the band that we start, whatever it's called, will always be compared to the band I've been in. So what would be the point of that? And I thought it's best to start on a new path, and whether at the time I was thinking whether I'm cut out for it or not, we'll see, And it's going good at the minute.
You mentioned the trumpets and some of the orchestration. It's such an interesting record because while there is that stripped down approach at times, there's this amazing diversity of instrumentation and musical sounds at play on this album that I don't necessarily associate with a lot of the records you made with Oasis. Did you envision these songs sounding as diverse as they are, or did you go in the studio and just start exploring and bringing in banjos and trumpets?
Well, look, when we were in Oasis, we were a stadium rock band, so the songs we were writing were rock and roll songs. And when you're in a band with 4 other guys everything ends at Double Fantasy with Liam. It doesn't go any further than the death of John Lennon. That's it. That's what we were about. It was a singer who was obsessed to the point of lunacy with John Lennon, and Andy and Gem, they don't listen to dance music or jazz, do you know what I mean? And I do, And between the 5 of us, we created that sound that was Oasis, whatever it was. Now, of course, now I'm on my own, so I can just do whatever I want, And, I don't have to pull out a banjo and everybody go, what's that? It's a banjo. And what are you going to do with it? I'm going to pluck it. That's what I'm going to do with it. Now it's just like I just do it.
But that's got to be really liberating.
If that's but I don't want it to sound like I was some kind of shrunken flower in the corner to a hostage to rock and roll in the studio saying, "Oh, damn this rock." I loved it. But now it's like it's time for something different.
You in a recent interview, Noel, you said that when you start chasing success, you start making mistakes.
Well, it's a tricky thing.
So, how will you, you've sold millions of records with your songs, but now you're on your own. How will you gauge success? What does success mean to you?
Well, that's a good question because nobody quite knows anymore with illegal downloads and all that. It's like people giving away music. It's like, what is a successful record now? It's the amount of people that buy it or the amount of people that have it or the amount that you can give it away. I don't know. But in response to that, it's like, the more success that you get, you're more willing to try and hang on to it. Do you know what I mean? I'm never the kind of person that would, get to a point where we're selling out stadiums and then say, right, that's it, we're now going reggae, and damn the audience. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, I'm not like that. So,
but do you still thirst for that kind of success? I hate to keep juxtaposing him against your brother, but he could be anybody else. He's just an interesting counterpoint to you because he was here a few months ago saying, I still want to be bigger than the Beatles.
Yeah.
Is that your desire as well?
Well, I won't say bigger than the Beatles, but we were the biggest thing in England for 30 years. So I've done that. So but in today's age, you can want all you want. You can say, I want to be this and I want to be that and blah, 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 but the people decide. That's the end. So I'd rather just please myself and worry about what... people ask me on a daily basis about this record, what are your hopes and expectations? And I'm like, I don't care. I'm happy with it. The end. That's it. I can do it live and that's it. Whatever happens after that, don't get me wrong. If somebody says, we booked you in the Hollywood Bowl next year, I won't go, well, I don't want to do that. It's too big. Do you know what I mean? I'm well open for whatever comes,
right.
But I'm not, You're
not going to live or die by
banging my
sales.
fist on my manager's desk saying, get me in Madison Square Garden next year. I'm not bothered about that.
You've now that you've gone solo, you get described in the press as a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
You don't like that term.
No.
Why not?
Because singer-songwriter implies that the most important part of that is the singer bit. And I've often found with singer-songwriters, they've got great voices and they tailor their songs to promote their voice, if you like. I'm a songwriter-singer. My voice is irrelevant to... The song is the most important thing in the melody. And if I had a voice like Adele or... I don't know, I think the male equivalent...
There's no male equivalent to Adele.
No, I know, but I'm saying if I had one of those great voices,
Stevie Wonder.
I don't want to get into
but
you know what I mean. But it's like if I was a great singer, my songs wouldn't be as good because my voice.
Bowie.
Would,
Will you take Bowie?
Bowie's not a great singer. He's a great artist. He's not a great
Bowie
singer.
was a great singer.
No, he's a great artist. You don't put him down with Caruso, would you, or anything like that? Bob Dylan, for instance.
He's a great singer?
No, he's not a great singer.
Right. He's a songwriter-singer.
Yeah, he's a songwriter-singer. Singer-songwriter is different for me. I'm a songwriter-singer. My songs are more important than my voice.
But you also say that when you describe your onstage role in Oasis as being that of a sideman. You were the primary songwriter, but otherwise a sideman. So now that you're front and center, what is that like for you?
It's horrible.
Is it horrible?
Yeah. Well,
Are you being facetious?
No, everybody stares at you. It's weird. I've only done this is tonight. Tonight will be my 7th or 8th gig, and I can do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm inching forward to where I'm feeling comfortable with it. I don't feel nervous about it, but there is that thing where when I used to be on the side, nobody was looking at me. I could pretend I was Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock. Do you know what I mean? Now it's like all these people are staring, and particularly in between the songs, everyone thinks you've got something to say. I've got nothing to say to anyone.
I love the idea that after playing stadiums for a couple of decades, Noel Gallagher is intimidated by being on stage because people are looking at...
If I can explain this by when I was in Oasis, I'm stood here, and the entire band is that way to me, to my right. So I was almost observing the gig. I can play guitar standing on my head, you know, not literally standing on my head, but I can do it, you know. So I would be observing the gig. I'd be more like a person in the crowd, but I'd obviously be getting paid a lot more. And but now I'm kind of, gigs pass me by in 10 minutes now because I'm thinking about the words and what I'm playing and singing and all that. And the next thing, it's over.
Right.
And you know what? I'm getting used to it, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's the staring. It's weird.
I have to ask you, maybe I'd be remiss if I didn't, since we're in this city. If I'm correct, your concerts this week, this is your first North American tour since the onstage appearance in Toronto when you were injured with the onstage attack back in 2008.
Yeah.
Do you have any apprehension about performing here again? No.
That was a real unfortunate incident, you know, and I was kind of like, I didn't see it, you know. I was just playing away there, and the next thing, bang, the lights go out, and it's just like, what's going on there, you know? And it's still, that thing is still rumbling on, you know.
You said at the time that or a little while last year, you said you'll never really recover from the damages you suffered.
Well, no, your bones, they don't just miraculously. They're all there.
So how are you faring now?
Yeah, it's good. But you know, if anybody's had broken bones, when it gets to the winter, you know, you feel them a little bit, you know, and I feel them sometimes. But it's not something I only thought about it now when you brought it up.
You weren't traumatized arriving in Canada.
I wasn't walking around the streets yesterday thinking someone's going to jump out and attack me. Do you know what I mean?
I'm sorry I brought it up.
No, I'm kind of not like that. But that fills me with a bit of more apprehension for tonight's show. Thanks a lot for that.
In terms of this tour, you're going to be playing Oasis songs, right? In concert.
Well, let me. I'm going to be playing my songs.
Oh.
They're only Oasis songs when Oasis are playing them.
Okay, you're going to be playing songs that you wrote that were performed in Oasis.
That's right, yeah.
That's something that Liam and BDI don't do. You said that you're playing them because you don't have enough other material yet. But is that really it, or do you feel a sense of obligation to the fans to play some?
Well, you wouldn't really go and see Paul McCartney and expect him just to perform Wings songs, would you? I mean, you wouldn't.
Well, maybe, depending on where he's at in his career.
As good as it would be.
Yeah.
You're not sitting there thinking, I hope he plays, you know,
everything off RAM.
Yeah, I hope he plays Hey Jude. Do you know what I mean? It's like, they're my songs. I wrote them, the end. And the reason BDI are not playing them is because they're a band, and I'm sure they don't want to turn into an Oasis covers band. You know, they're ploughing their own road from now on. Do you know what I mean? And good luck to them. Do you know what I mean? Other than that, I own those songs. They're mine.
Does your relationship to those songs, the big hits even, change when it's Noel Gallagher playing his songs as opposed to what they were as Oasis hits? Do they mean something different to you now?
I'm not sure. No. Like, I'm playing Supersonic acoustically on this tour, and I've never sang it before. And when I was rehearsing it with the band, and I do it acoustically in a different style, I really kind of thought, wow, they're really good lyrics. I wrote them, you know, a long time ago, and I'd never sang it, and I thought, oh, if that's not bloody Bob Dylan-esque, that bit there, eh? But
that's because you're a songwriter-singer.
Yeah, and do they mean anything different? I don't know. I'll get back to you on that one. I don't know. I don't know.
When will you get back to me on that?
Probably next time I've got a record out.
I'll hold you to it. Hey, I gotta ask you. You and Liam have never shied away from taking shots at each other publicly. That said, you are brothers with a celebrated musical history. He was just quoted in The Independent, as saying he was sure Oasis were going to get back together.
Yeah.
Your response was, "I left that band for a reason that still stands." Do you want to give us an update? I mean, where do you see?
I will. If you promise to broadcast this, I will tell you now that how this happened was I was doing an interview when I first started doing a round of interviews, and then a journalist said to me, "Did you have any regrets about leaving Oasis?" And I said, "Initially, I did, yeah, because I was kind of in the 10 months. I was thinking, well, we could have all there was problems within the band, but we could have all gone off and done our respective solo things. We didn't need to actually split up. It was a hot-headed moment. We could have been working on our solo projects, and it would have been nice, to come back in 2015. And a journalist being a journalist thinks, well, that's not a story. But if I used present tense and say it would be nice instead of would have been nice, and we could come back, there's a story. So what the journalists do is they just edited a couple of things, and then the next thing was, that I'm open for a 2015 reunion, which I'm not. I left. I don't see any. And in the intervening 2 years, Liam was going around the world telling everybody what circus Oasis was, and how if he had toured again, it would make him feel sick. And blah,
but now
blah, blah.
he's the one saying that he thinks.
Well, yeah, I find that ironic. And I also find it highly amusing. And I have a real problem with people who don't have the courage of their convictions.
What does that mean? What do you?
Well, if you're fronting it out for 2 years, then stick by it. Don't then afterwards decide that actually now I think it'd be a good idea. Life is not about backtracking. It's about I left Oasis for a specific reason, and everybody knows what that reason is, and that wouldn't change 2015 or no 2015. It wouldn't change. It's as simple as that, and I know it. And Liam's in the press saying the people demand it, so they'll get it. Well, they don't need me. All they've got to do is get another guitarist. I'm not Jimi Hendrix. I'm not Jimi Hendrix.
But you'd be cool with them playing your songs without you?
They hereby have my permission. They can do whatever they like. What you should do is
it's quite magnanimous of you.
Yeah, well, the night he was on stage at the Brits and we got an award for the best album of the last 25 years, he got up there and thanked everybody, bar me. So I'll hereby say he should go and get those people, have a little rehearsal, and go around the world. They can do those songs, a lot of other songs they didn't write. As long as they're filling out the PRS forms at the end of the gig, I'm happy with that.
You'll still be getting your royalties. Hey, man, it's a real pleasure getting to talk to you. I appreciate your candor. I thank you very much. And I want to go out on the album's first North American single, If I Had a Gun. You want to say anything about this song?
I wrote it while I was still in Oasis, as a matter of fact, on the last leg of the South American tour. And I was doing it at sound checks, just feeling it out. When the band had gone off, I would stay behind and just do it with an acoustic guitar. And I never thought anything of it. And at this point, I didn't have a computer. I didn't get a computer till last Christmas, my first ever computer. Somebody came up to me, one of my friends, and said, I really like that song, If I Had a Gun. Now, he couldn't have known this. Nobody could have known about that song. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, I've heard it on the internet. Unbeknown to me, somebody was taping one of these sound checks on a phone and had put it up on the internet. So I kind of went and I looked, and it was thousands of people had watched it. And I was fascinated that how it had gone from the version that I'd done in the sound check to where it was now. And everybody was digging it. And I was like, so I got a computer and I thought, I better keep my eye on all this stuff. Turns out half the album's already up there because I'm playing them in sound checks, kind of just for me.
Right.
And so there's an unfinished version of If I Had a Gun, and all these people were then posting clips of themselves on YouTube finishing it off. And I think it's the only song that's ever been covered by 20,000 people before it's ever been written.
Before it's been released or written.
Before it's been written. I hadn't even written it.
Right.
But it's...
Why on earth didn't you have a computer until last year?
well, I never felt I needed one.
Really?
And I still really regret buying it. You know, I remember kind of being at home for the first time and I kind of switched it on and it went boom, on that chord. And I thought, right, okay, let's go on this internet thing. There's nothing
This
on it.
internet thing.
There's nothing on it.
No,
What?
it's the way the world runs now.
No, there's nothing
no.
on it. There is nothing on there. There's a lot. I read stories about me on there that made me laugh out
Right.
loud. I read
Yeah.
a story that honestly, it beggars belief. Can I share it with you?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
The story said, this is when my wife was pregnant. And it went, it is believed that Noel Gallagher has placed a £10,000 bet with a bookmaker that his new child will be born on the 9th of October as to coincide with John Lennon's birthday. It is believed. By who? I thought to myself. But could you imagine going to your wife and saying, see, the thing is, you're going to have to get this kid out next week because we all know it's John's birthday and we all know how important that is to Uncle Liam. You know what I mean? You'll freak out. But not only that, I've only got to put 10 grand on it. So get a wriggle on, lady.
But you can't blame the internet. You can't blame the existence of computers for that.
Believed. By who is it believed? By the idiot that wrote it. Nonsense is on there. There's nonsense. All it's for is for entertainment and shopping. Other than that, that's it. Really, isn't it?
Noel Gallagher, I look forward to the time when I hope it's soon, when you return, partly because you still need to answer my question about the relationship to songs and how it's changed, but also because it's a great joy getting to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this.